Welcome to Informed Tourist, where we uncover the real stories behind the world's most talked about destinations. If you've ever scrolled through your feed and dreamed of jetting off to a faraway city, you're not alone. The promise of adventure, culture, and unforgettable memories draws millions of travelers to Asia every year. But what happens when the reality doesn't match the fantasy? I'm Curtis, your traveling guru, and I've spent years exploring the hidden corners and headline hotspots of this incredible continent. I've seen the highs and the lows, the magic and the mayhem, and I'm here to help you navigate it all. Imagine this: you finally arrive in the city you've been dreaming about for months, maybe even years. You step off the plane, heart pounding with excitement, only to find yourself lost in a sea of tourists, struggling to find a moment of peace. The photos you saw online promised serenity and wonder, but the reality is chaos, confusion, and disappointment. What if your dream vacation, the one you've seen all over social media, turns out to be a place you can't wait to leave? For thousands of travelers, Asia's most iconic cities, once celebrated for their vibrant culture and unique charm, have become sources of regret, not relaxation. The crowds are overwhelming, the noise is constant, and the sense of discovery has been replaced by frustration. Instead of finding hidden gems, you're fighting for space just to take a photo. Once vibrant markets, where you could once chat with friendly locals and sample authentic street food, are now overrun with aggressive vendors and scam artists. The warmth and hospitality that made these places famous have faded, replaced by exhaustion and impatience as locals struggle to keep up with the endless waves of visitors. Long lines snake around every major landmark, tuk-tuks and taxis clog the streets, and even the police seem overwhelmed by the sheer volume of people. Safety concerns are on the rise, and what was once an adventure now feels like a test of patience and endurance. Today, we're counting down 10 Asian cities that tourists now regret visiting. Places where crowds, scams, and safety concerns have fundamentally changed the experience. But don't worry, I won't just leave you with a list of places to avoid. Stick around for my 3-question filter, a simple tool you can use to instantly spot if a city is past its prime and avoid disappointment on your next trip. Whether you're planning your first adventure or your 50th, this guide will help you travel smarter, safer, and happier. Let's dive in. Bangkok. The name alone conjures images of neon-lit nights, the hum of tuk-tuks weaving through traffic, and the promise of adventure at every corner. For decades, this city was the beating heart of the backpacker trail, a place where travelers from every corner of the globe converged, drawn by the allure of cheap hostels, wild parties, and the intoxicating sense of freedom that only Bangkok seemed to offer. Once the backpacker capital of the world, Bangkok's energy has shifted. In the 1990s, it was a place of possibility, where friendships were forged over chong beers and stories swapped in dimly lit guest houses. The city pulsed with a raw, unfiltered energy, a sense that anything could happen, and often did. Back then, the city felt like a secret shared among travelers. You could lose yourself in the maze of markets, stumble upon hidden temples, and find genuine connections with locals eager to share their culture. The chaos was exhilarating, not overwhelming. Khao San Road used to be a rite of passage. Now, it's a gauntlet of scams and relentless hustling. What was once a haven for free spirits has become a caricature of itself, overrun by touts and opportunists who see every newcomer as a mark. The street's legendary nightlife is still there, but it's buried beneath layers of commercialism. Every step is met with someone trying to sell you something: bracelets, suits, tours, or the promise of a special deal that's never quite what it seems. Tuk-tuk drivers lure you with cheap rides, only to shuttle you to overpriced shops and fake markets. The infamous just one stop routine is a well-oiled machine, designed to separate you from your money before you even realize what's happening. The infamous gem scam is more sophisticated than ever, and pickpocketing is an art form in crowded markets. Even seasoned travelers find themselves second-guessing every friendly stranger, every too-good-to-be-true offer. Scams have evolved with the times. Now, it's not just about losing a few baht. It's about being constantly on edge, wondering if the next smile hides a scheme. The thrill of discovery has been replaced by a nagging sense of suspicion. Instead of exploring, you're constantly on guard, drained by the need to protect yourself. The joy of wandering aimlessly, of letting the city surprise you, is replaced by a checklist of warnings and red flags. Guidebooks and travel forums are filled with cautionary tales. Watch your bag. Don't trust anyone who approaches you first. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. The city that once invited curiosity now demands vigilance. The city's warmth has eroded under the weight of mass tourism. Interactions feel transactional, and you start to feel like a walking ATM. The genuine smiles have faded, replaced by practiced pitches and calculated charm. Even the simple act of buying a snack or a souvenir feels loaded. You wonder if you're being overcharged, if the food is authentic, or if you're just another faceless customer in a never-ending stream. Authentic moments still exist, but you have to fight for them, navigating a minefield of deceit. The city's soul is still there, hidden beneath the surface. But it takes effort. And sometimes luck to find it. If you're patient, you might catch a glimpse of the old Bangkok. A heartfelt conversation with a local, a hidden temple untouched by tour groups, a meal that tastes like home. But these moments are rare, and getting rarer. Many first-time visitors leave feeling exhausted and cheated, wondering where the magic went. The city that once promised adventure now feels like a test of endurance, a place where you're always looking over your shoulder. Bangkok hasn't lost everything, but for many, the fight to find its soul just isn't worth it. The city still dazzles from a distance, but up close, the cracks are hard to ignore. Remember, I'll share my travel filter at the end to help you avoid cities like this, because sometimes, the best adventures are found not where everyone else goes, but where the spirit of discovery is still alive and well. Manila was once rough but rewarding, a city that wore its imperfections with pride, where every cracked sidewalk and faded wall told a story of resilience. The city's energy was raw, unfiltered, and undeniably real. There was a time when wandering its streets meant discovering hidden gems tucked between the chaos, and the warmth of its people shone through even the most hectic days. It was a place where authenticity shone through chaos, where the noise and bustle felt like a living heartbeat. The markets overflowed with color and life, and every corner offered a new adventure. Locals would greet you with a smile, eager to share their city's secrets, and the sense of community was palpable, even among strangers. But now, the chaos overwhelms everything. The city's vibrant pulse has become a relentless drumbeat, drowning out the charm that once made Manila special. The streets are more crowded than ever, and the sense of discovery has been replaced by a constant struggle to simply move forward. The moment you arrive, you're hit by suffocating crowds, relentless noise, and paralyzing traffic. The air is thick with the sound of honking horns and shouting vendors, and the sheer volume of people can make even the most seasoned traveler feel claustrophobic. Getting anywhere is a battle, and the constant congestion leaves you feeling trapped and vulnerable. What should be a simple journey across town turns into an exhausting ordeal, with every minute spent in traffic sapping your energy and patience. Petty crime and scams are rampant. The city's reputation for pickpockets and hustlers is well earned. Even locals warn visitors to keep their guard up, and stories of stolen wallets and clever cons are all too common. Tourists are warned to hide valuables and stay hyper-aware. The constant vigilance required to navigate the streets can be exhausting, turning what should be an exciting adventure into a stressful ordeal. Every step feels like a risk, and the joy of exploration is overshadowed by anxiety. Pollution is inescapable, smog stings your eyes, and the city feels physically sick. The air is heavy, sometimes making it hard to breathe, and the once bright skyline is now often shrouded in a gray haze. Even the sunlight seems harsh, filtered through layers of dust and exhaust. Instead of connecting, you're too busy watching your back. The constant need to be alert creates a barrier between you and the city, making it difficult to truly experience Manila's culture or connect with its people. Manila's indifference to outsiders is palpable. You're not a guest, just another obstacle. The city moves around you, barely noticing your presence, and the sense of welcome that once defined Manila has faded into apathy. Many leave feeling beaten down, overwhelmed, and regretting their choice. The city's rough edges, once a badge of honor, now cut too deep, leaving visitors longing for the warmth and wonder that Manila used to offer. Delhi is a city of profound history and culture, but for many, the culture shock is overwhelming. Sensory overload hits immediately: noise, crowds, and dizzying smells. Aggressive touts and scammers target tourists relentlessly, turning every outing into a mental battle. Female travelers face constant, unnerving attention, making it impossible to relax. Air pollution is among the world's worst. Smog blots out the sun and makes sightseeing physically uncomfortable. Instead of spontaneous discovery, you're forced into a defensive, risk-averse routine. The city's beauty is buried under layers of stress and hostility. Many visitors leave not with wonder, but with relief, vowing never to return. Jakarta was once a hidden gem, offering authentic connection and optimism. Now, relentless growth has choked the city. Traffic is legendary, hours lost in gridlock, your day dictated by the impossible task of getting around. Pollution hangs heavy, sapping your energy and health. Flooding adds unpredictability and danger, especially during rainy season. Petty crime is rising, and constant vigilance replaces carefree exploration. The city's friendly vibe is harder to find. Stress and exhaustion dominate public spaces. Tourists feel like afterthoughts in a city overwhelmed by its own problems. The regret, realizing you've traveled far only to be trapped in dysfunction. Kuala Lumpur was once the easy, safe gateway to Southeast Asia. Now, rising petty crime and sophisticated scams are changing the experience. Phone snatching in Bukit Bintang is swift and brazen. Tourists are told to clutch their devices and stay alert. Taxi scams and fake police are more common, forcing visitors to second-guess every interaction. Cleanliness is slipping, and the city feels less polished than before. KL isn't in crisis, but it's no longer the effortless paradise it once was. Many visitors arrive, expecting ease and safety, but find a city that now demands street smarts and vigilance. Kathmandu was once a spiritual haven, a gateway to the Himalayas. Today, pollution is the city's defining feature. Smog obscures the mountains and chokes the air. Infrastructure is crumbling. Roads are chaotic, power cuts frequent, and water quality a concern. Thamel, once peaceful, is now a noisy, commercialized maze. Trekking culture has become a high-pressure sales environment, with scams and aggressive competition. The city's spiritual heart still beats, but you have to fight to find it amid the chaos. Many travelers arrive seeking enlightenment, but leave feeling disappointed and physically unwell. Colombo was once a gentle, welcoming gateway to Sri Lanka. Now, economic collapse and political instability have shattered that peace. Tourists face fuel shortages, power cuts, and fragile infrastructure. Massive protests and a heavy security presence create constant stress and unpredictability. Many travelers feel stranded, their holiday overshadowed by a nation in crisis. The warmth of the people remains, but the city's mood is anxious and tense. Visitors regret arriving in a place where their presence feels out of place amid national trauma. Phnom Penh's raw authenticity once drew travelers seeking meaning. Now scams and theft dominate the experience. Bag snatching is rampant, forcing tourists into constant vigilance. Tuk-tuk drivers and aggressive scams make every interaction feel predatory. Poverty is visible, and tourists are pressured into uncomfortable situations. Even historical sites feel commercialized and tainted. The city's soul is being eroded by desperation, leaving visitors feeling exploited and regretful. Hong Kong was once the gold standard, safe, vibrant, and open. Political upheaval has replaced its carefree spirit with tension and caution. Surveillance and self-censorship are now part of the visitor experience. The city feels subdued, its famous openness diminished. Tourists sense they're outsiders in a city looking inward. The regret is quiet, a sense of arriving just after the party ended, the magic dimmed. Shanghai dazzled as the city of the future. Now digital and physical surveillance create stress and alienation for visitors. Essential apps are hard to set up, making daily life frustrating for tourists. Cameras and strict rules foster anxiety about missteps. Language and tech barriers isolate travelers, making participation in city life difficult. Unpredictable regulations add instability. The city is still stunning, but the mental energy required leaves many feeling drained and disconnected. 10 incredible cities, now sources of regret for many travelers. The challenges, scams, crime, pollution, and tension often outweigh the rewards. Here's my informed tourist travel filter. Before booking, ask, do locals vacation there? Are scams common? Does the city feel overwhelmed? If yes to 2 or more, it's past its peak. Use this filter to avoid regret and find destinations that are still a joy to visit. Have you ever regretted a hyped-up trip? Share your story in the comments. Thanks for watching Informed Tourist. Like, subscribe, and check out our next video for more travel insights.